Hello, it is Kay from K No Sports, and I I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I was thinking about with the whole issue of the Patriots having a very easy schedule this year, and I have to admit they do have a very easy schedule. I had looked at their schedule way before the season started, right when they announced the schedules, and because I always like to see if they play the Falcons, because if they play in Atlanta or they play the Falcons, I can go see the game, right? But they haven't played the Falcons in years, so I was looking at the schedule, and I was like, wow, this schedule is very weak. Like, they should breeze through this schedule. Now, not saying that they have breezed through it. They've done some blowouts, but some of the games have been relatively close, especially in the first half against the Redskins, and the game that just passed was the Giants on Thursday night. That game had a lot of interceptions and fumbles, and it was a very messy game. But so people say their schedule is just trash, and that's true. But also, I wanted to say that the strength of the schedule doesn't really determine if the team will do good in the playoffs or not do good in the playoffs. So you have to remember the Patriots had a season where they went undefeated, and then they lost in the Super Bowl against that very Giants team and that was in 2007. So they've had seasons where they were perfect almost in the regular season, but ended up losing in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl. So my thing about the strength of a schedule is that, yes, you do need to play more advanced teams, teams that are just as equally as good as you or better than you, so you can see how you fare against those teams. And when I watch baseball, because I've been watching the entire postseason, I saw that the strength of a schedule and how many wins you have during the regular season typically doesn't matter. It kind of gives you an advantage, but case in point, you had two wildcard teams that won in Major League Baseball. You had the Nationals beating the Milwaukee Brewers, and they had to come back from behind in that game. And that was a wildcard game to see who would play the number one team in the National League, which was the LA Dodgers. And you also had Cardinals and Braves, and then you had Tampa Bay beating the Oakland A's to play against Houston, who is the number one team in the American League. And then you had the Yankees and Minnesota. So 3 out of those 4 series went to 5 games, excluding my Yankees, who swept the Minnesota Twins easily. But the Nationals defeated the LA Dodgers. And the thing about the Nationals is they were always a team that was just hanging around during the regular season. They never had the best record. They barely beat Milwaukee. And now they're playing against the Cardinals, and they just won that first game of that series. They won 2-0 and a shutout last night. So, but the fact that the Washington Nationals had that momentum going into the postseason is why I think they have the potential to go to the World Series and actually the potential to win the World Series. Because it doesn't really matter how you start the season or how strong your record is, your schedule is. It matters how you finish the season and the momentum you have going into the playoffs and the postseason. That's how it's always been. And when the Patriots have won their championships, they've always had that. The last few weeks of the regular season, they were kicking ass. They had momentum, and they went to the playoffs with that momentum. And that propelled them to win a lot of times. Because a lot of times the Patriots didn't play very well in the regular season. They had a so-and-so record, but they always win their division because they're not in a super strong division anyways, right? So the same thing, you see that in all sorts of sports across the board, the NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL. It doesn't really matter how you start the season. It matters how you finish the season. You want to get a good record during the regular season because you want to get either like a bye or you want to get home field or home court advantage. But really, if you have that momentum at the end of the regular season and you're going into the postseason, you have a really good chance, a very, very good chance of doing some upsets and going all the way to the championship because it matters. Doesn't matter how you start the season. It matters how you finish the season. That's always the case. Even when you see the NCAA basketball teams, March Madness, it matters how you finish the season. Not necessarily what you do in the season. So that's something I was thinking about because I always looked at sports like that, and I never really look at the regular season schedule of the regular season as being a predictor of who's going to win the championship because everybody was saying that the Dodgers were going to play the Houston Astros, and Houston barely had to go 5 games against Tampa Bay, another team that was subpar average during the regular season, but they had that momentum going into the playoffs. And they almost beat Houston, which was the number one seed in American League. So, and then the Dodgers got upset. The Dodgers and Houston had the best records in baseball. Like I said, it doesn't matter. And they won so many games, the Dodgers did. And so they're one of the biggest, upsets. I remember when I watched that game, I could not believe the Dodgers actually had a 3-0 lead, and they let the Nationals come back and tie them. Clay Crenshaw gave up 2 back-to-back home runs. I can't even fathom that because they put him in there in the 8th inning as a closer because they wanted to cement this game. And he gave up back-to-back home runs, which then led to them going to extra innings and the Nationals hitting a grand slam in, I believe it was the top of the 10th, and it was 7-3 victory. And they just won their first game against the Cardinals tonight. And I actually think that the Nationals will win that series. Just like I think the Yankees will win their series against Houston, which starts tonight at 7-ish. And they're going to be playing in Houston, I think, because Houston does have a better record. They had the best record in the American League, so I think they have home field advantage. But nonetheless, the Cardinals have home field advantage, and they just lost at home. So home field advantage, that's overrated too. A lot of stuff is overrated in sports. When a team has that momentum, just like the Yankees, they got that momentum coming into the postseason. And Houston Astros are vulnerable. So I just want to say that really quickly. And yes, that's me in the picture. That's me in the picture. So um, I want to do more on like live videos and stuff like that. We'll see. We'll see where the channel goes. I mean, I don't. I'm a newbie at this, so um, we'll talk more about baseball as it progresses, and also about upcoming football Sunday, and also we also want to talk about, like I said, NBA's coming up. They're playing their preseason, and we're going to talk about who's already being projected by um, the analysts to be contenders. So we'll talk about all of that. So I'll catch you guys later.